Let's just talk that human DNA was designed by aliens, say scientists. Now, as a Bible-believing Christian, I get a lot of flack from people who say there's nothing in the Bible about this stuff. Well, there's a whole lot in the Bible about this stuff. They just never have done their homework, and this is the great deception that Jesus spoke of. We've already seen the momentous work that Tom Horn has done on Exo Vaticana and the whole alien disclosure, even to the point where the Catholic Church and the Catholic hierarchy is claiming they could baptize aliens. Now, there's a reason why that's not acceptable, because Jesus is called the Son of Man. He's not called the Son of Andromeda, okay, and he's the firstborn amongst the dead. So Jesus died for the very people that God had created initially in his image and likeness. But genetic engineering, and now the human DNA was designed by aliens, say scientists, that's called panspermia. And that's probably the central theme of most science fiction movies, high-budget ones, is that obviously we were created by aliens. But then I asked the quadrillion-dollar question, who created the aliens? So the point is that now as we're on the talk radio together tonight, and whatever time this plays, the thing that I think is important, I sent to you, Dave, the actual instructions for the Nazi U-boat commanders how to get into the inner Earth and how to basically access the land beneath the ice, the Antarctica. Now, even as we're going on the air tonight, how is this for cool? Dave, you and I are talking about this, and someone sends me an email and says Cliff High of WebBot fame has just stated that the steps were made for 19-foot-tall giants. You know, one of the hardest things to get people to understand is that the architecture of antiquity is built for entities, if you will, humanoids larger than the typical man size. You can go on my website, stevequayle.com. There's actually a brooch, a locket, that's in the illustrations of a giant greeting a smaller human, and that was found in the area called Nemrut, Nemrut, dog, D-A-G-H, and it's in Turkey. Well, what's fascinating, it's in the area of what are called the thrones of the seven kings. So these are giants. These are not normal human beings. They have a supernatural life force. Obviously, the Bible talks about the return to the days of Noah. Most people ignorantly say, well, that just means there's going to be a lot of violence. No, people don't understand when Joshua and Caleb went into the Promised Land, they saw giants that were so big that they said we were as grasshoppers in their sight, and so we were in theirs. And they talk literally about the land devouring its inhabitants. And Dave, one of the things I think is critical to understand why the gates of hell have opened and why it's very important for people to understand this is cannibalism has come now mainstream. It's come so mainstream that CNN, the Cannibal News Network as it's being called, actually showed a Muslim reporter eating human brains in a Hindu cannibal sex society. Now, and I'm talking sect, S-E-C-T. Also, I could say sick society. But would you, Dave Hodges, have ever imagined that you would be seeing cannibalism and all of the grossness and trash associated with that tied into WikiLeaks, tied into Pedogate? Let's forget Pizzagate. It's Pedogate. And now you see, if you will, a global spirit of perversion loose that basically even the Muslims are saying they can eat their enemies. I'm talking about cannibalism. So the thing is that what I believe is so important for people to understand is all the boundaries that God put in place to protect us from these fallen angels, from the demons, and I'll explain it again. A demon is a disembodied spirit of a dead giant. The giants are referred to as the Rephaim, from the root word Rapha, which means the dead. And, you know, you can't get away from recognizing that the architecture is different at a certain point prior to the flood of Noah to the architecture after. So now, we fast forward to Antarctica, all the anomalies that people are seeing, all the famous people that have been down there, from the Pope, obviously Vladimir Putin, President Obama, John Kerry, even the President of Norway was there, Buzz Aldrin was there. All the people are going down there for a reason. And as you know, the Internet is rife with different people reporting in. But what's it really, I would say, a slap in the face, attention getter is the fact that now there are so many anomalous events taking place in the Antarctic. For instance, as you know, your dad was involved in, black stuff. When I say black stuff, secret, top secret stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when Lockheed Martin moves 1,000 engineers and aerospace engineers into the Antarctic, these are what we're being told, into the military, U.S. military section, and taken down in giant elevators to 2.5 miles beneath the ice. They're there to basically identify things they know that they have not already reverse engineered, but to take control of the technological lead there. So, we're hearing this. We're hearing civilians being taken out, and this is the U.S. military sector. Antarctica is a huge place, but what's fascinating is people don't understand that most of the research stations are way away from the important areas of the Antarctic, if you will, continent. So when you add these things up, all of the different stories, all the different eyewitnesses, and by the way, I just had a man return from Argentina, very well-placed source, talking to different intelligence agencies, and they are telling him the same thing I'm telling your listeners tonight, that there is so much from antiquity. Now, let me deal with something that people just can't realize. They always try and quote the law that says because the gravity on the Earth is what it is, that you couldn't have giants today. They always rule out the fact that these are, if you will, a different life form and a different life force. These are not just metaphors or colloquialisms for, NBA players or weightlifters. These entities in history ran all the way from 9 feet to 18 feet to 24 feet. So the reason why this becomes problematic to the powers that be is they can't keep a lid on everything all the time. And it's like someone has given the go-ahead to allow gradual revelation, if you will. There was a time when you and I talking about this stuff would have got us some visits from the Men in Black. Now they don't care. They want to use you, Dave Hodges. They want to use me, Steve Quayle. They want to use whoever has a forum talking about this stuff to, number one, gauge people's reactions, and to, number two, see how advanced, and when I say that, how forward-thinking we are as to the ramifications. Because you know this, the Defense Department will never tell the truth, or unless they're forced to, and never it's the whole truth. It's always just bits and pieces. So God in His mercy, it is my opinion, are giving you the puzzles you have, the puzzle pieces you have. I have Doug Hagman, those of us who write about this, L.A. Marzulli, Tim Alvarino, Tom Horn, Dr. Michael Lake. All these different people are getting different pieces of the puzzle. But when you step back, Dave, now the puzzle's never been clearer.
It really hasn't, Steve, and there's a real coherent picture that's beginning to form. And as I look at this, we're really uncovering our past that has been obscured from humanity, and the past is coming full circle right into the present. Do you think this is going to actually lead to some kind of disclosure?
Well, I believe that's what we're seeing right now, is graduated disclosure, but it's ultimately, I think beyond that, Dave, it's going to lead to the bigger issue, what Jesus spoke about, that if the days weren't shortened for the elect's sake, that there'd be no flesh left alive. Number one, with the resulting release of all of the giants, and look, I've spent 40 years of my life on this, okay? And I've got thousands and thousands of footnotes, and the amount of evidence to what I'm saying surpasses the paid trolls or the paid shills or just the ignorant donkeys that have never had an education. I'm trying to be kinder and gentler. I challenge them to go and do your homework because, again, here's the thing. It's not leading to disclosure. It's leading to domination. I believe there's, 1.3, 1.4 billion Catholics. Now, traditional Catholics aren't going to buy the lie. But this Pope has gone out of his way to make sure that people recognize that they're ready and willing to receive, if you will, aliens. And what's more interesting, along with this, is the rhetoric is increasing along with the sightings of UFOs. You've probably seen that.